All right, welcome back to the channel. Man, I was told, and I'm a boxing fan, not a journalist, I was told that Errol Spence Jr. may be going the way of Gervonta Davis and retiring very soon. Let's talk about that in this video. Two of the most exciting fighters of the past, I would say, 10 years or so. Two of the best and most exciting fighters over about the last 10 years. Gervonta Tank Davis and Errol Spence Jr. are both subjects of retirement rumors. Errol Spence Jr. says something that makes people believe that he's going to retire, and Gervonta Davis flat out comes out and says that, hey, he may be done at the end of this year. And some of the comments that have come out as a result of that, mark my words, in a couple years, people are going to regret what they said, and they're going to be talking completely different about both these guys. Before I get into the details, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. And thank you very much for all the supporters for coming here. And I should have said this first. Thank God for my ability and your willingness to listen to this conversation about boxing. I hope it does some good in somebody's life. Errol Spence Jr., who is one of my favorite fighters of all time. He's one of my favorite fighters, number one, because I met him. So when you meet somebody and you see that they're generally a nice person, you see how they carry yourself, it's not unusual to say, okay, man, you have a certain connection to that guy. So having seen him spar, watch his career come up, one of my favorite fighters, not a perfect fighter, has not had a perfect career, and has overcome a lot of adversity. Rumor is that he's contemplating retirement. He is currently, right now, having to make sure that his cognitive functions are all together. He's going to therapists, or going to, not therapists, but probably therapists, and also going to the analysts that can tell him, you know, if his cognitive function is working the way it's supposed to work. But, you know, with the vicious sport of boxing and the vicious way that he fights, there's only a certain amount of time left for him to be doing that as a means to employment. But he, being a big name fighter, has the name to get a big fight. So what will that be if he does fight again? And what would be the perfect exit for him? Because if Errol Spence Jr., and it was true that Errol Spence Jr. would retire, or Gervonta Davis would retire, let me assure you, I would be 100% behind them and say, look, man, what a wonderful career. Thank you for the last 7 or so years. What has it been since like 2017? I've been watching Gervonta, little before that for Errol, But just, man, these guys have brought everything to the table. Both these guys go in the ring to fight. Both of them have given people nothing but exciting fights. But despite that being the case, despite both these guys being two of the most popular fighters in America and two of the most popular fighters in the world, consistently giving you exciting fights and fans reacting positively to them, you still got a whole lot of people that spent the entire time, the entire careers, criticizing them. The same people, take Errol Spence, for example, were complaining about Errol Spence Jr. and what Errol Spence Jr. was doing. Oh, he's got puffy chest on his neck, gynecomastia, he's on steroids, da-da-da-da-da, right? All the way back in 2017 when Andre Ward was still on top of the game. All the way through his choice of fights, right? People complained about who he was fighting. Why aren't you fighting Terrence? Why aren't you fighting Terrence? Meanwhile, he beats 2 reigning world champions after coming off of a horrendous car accident. Then gives you the fight that you want to see, even though it is readily apparent to many people that he was not in the condition to put up a good fight against Terrence Crawford because of the physical condition he was in. And they criticized him his entire career. Meanwhile, they criticized Gervonta Davis for the exact opposite. Gervonta Davis is fighting very often, unlike Errol Spence Jr. They never credit Gervonta Davis for being an active fighter. Gervonta Davis is fighting guys that have championships or 4 championships, but are not as highly rated because their names weren't as well known as the people that Errol Spence Jr. was fighting. But still, he was fighting on a consistent basis, and people say he doesn't fight good enough competition. So Errol, even though Errol was fighting the best competition, that's not enough. He's got to do something else. He's got to be more active. I mean, he had a car accident, man, and other people won't fight him. So what? He needs to be more active. Gervonta Davis is more active. Oh, man, it's the people that he's fighting are no good when they can't complain about that. But I definitely do want you guys to understand that they've been doing this. If Errol Spence Jr. really does retire and Gervonta Davis really does retire, these people would have nagged for the entirety of their career. And then you have Paulie Malignaggi sitting in judgment in his living room, saying that Paulie Malignaggi, would have beaten anybody that Gervonta Davis fought, and how he doesn't deserve to retire now. Like, what are you talking about, Paulie? You got whooped by everybody. Eventually, you retired, didn't you? And I said this in another video, and I maintain this. The only reason Paulie Malignaggi was able to fight the fighters that Paulie Malignaggi fought, because Paulie Malignaggi fought some really good fighters. He fought Adrian Bronner. He lost to Adrian Bronner. He lost to Amir Khan. I do believe that at some point in time, he fought Miguel Cotto. He's fought some really good names. But why did they fight him? They fought him because they could beat him. It's not the same situation as Errol Spence or Gervonta Davis. These people are looking at this guy like he's somebody that can beat them. And the promoters is looking at it like, hey, that's a big gamble for me to let my guy fight him. They're not looking at Paulie Malignaggi like he's some big gamble, so they're willing to give him some money, a good payday, give him a good payday, not an astronomical one like Gervonta, and they can make some money on the fight. But yet, and the same thing applies for Errol Spence Jr., man. But yet you got these guys out here bumping their lips, man. Anyway, that's my take on the matter, man. I tell you, I did not allow, I'm telling you, I'm so happy I did this. I never allowed these critics to affect my enjoyment of Gervonta Davis, Errol Spence, or Deontay Wilder, with all the negativity these guys put out there in the media about PBC and the PBC fighters. And they've been doing that ever since the PBC was formed, and even before that, with Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Al Heyman were fighting Golden Boy fighters. This stuff has been going on well over a decade, and matter of fact, it's been going on, as far as me paying attention to the boxing media, since at least 2002. At least 2002. Whenever it was right after around the start of the decline of Roy Jones Jr., I've been paying attention to the same narratives coming out about different boxers the whole time. These people do not like American boxing, and it's a competition within American boxing to see who can be the best in America, what promotional companies can be the best, and those guys cheat by ripping these guys down all the time out there in the media. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.